It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. We got a brand new video that we want to discuss that was suggested by one of you guys, so shout out to Unworldly Lime 47 for suggesting this. And if you also suggested this video, shout out to you as well. I don't know. I'm just kind of quickly skimming through the list, so I'm just kind of seeing if it was just Unworldly Lime or not. But regardless, appreciate the suggestion. We're going to be going ahead and covering this. This one is from EvilVora, which talks about the Grimoire perks as well as the other sort of parts of the video. Now, I'm going to only specifically be discussing the actual, like, his comments on the perks themselves. And this one's obviously called Grimoire Perks Are Awful, Dead by Daylight from EvilVora. And like I said, original video is going to be in the description, so you can listen to his commentary and the video that he's discussing. But I wanted to at least just kind of give my take on what other people are saying about the perks, because, you know, I already kind of gave my take. And I just want to see if whether we agree or disagree. Maybe there might be an insight that we don't know about.
Constructive manner. Don't say the perks suck and the devs have no idea. Instead, explain why they might be bad and how they could be improved. So please do not panic yet.
The way he's talking about these perks are actually kind of making me a little nervous. He's talking about these perks like they are just absolutely terrible.
Starting with the killer perks, Lay Waste, which is a gen.
I gotta agree with Vora on that, especially because, like, I haven't even seen the MintSkull video before, but I can imagine, like, if you're for the first time, you're loading into the video and you're getting to the perks section, and then the first thing out of his mouth is yo, you gotta make sure you give constructive criticism, like make sure that you explain how to change the perks so that you actually have like a good amount of feedback, and you like just try to give something to help it be changed, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, that already is pretty scary. So I go, yeah, I get that. Because you're like, damn, how bad is the perk? We didn't even get to it yet, and you're leaving a warning from the start. Like, yo, it's hilarious, to be honest.
Regression perk. Anytime you damage a generator, for each charge it had, it regresses 1% faster, and it has a 2-minute cooldown.
Is this not Call of Brine? That's literally Call of Brine, right? Maybe I'm a little confused.
Yeah, Vora, you're a little confused here, because Call of Brine used to regress at about 150, I think it was, or 125 or something like that. It used to regress at that level. Now it doesn't anymore. They nerfed it down to 50%. And basically, it's a little different than this, because what this perk is essentially saying it does is that it'll basically say if the gen is like 50%, it'll regress 50% faster on top of its normal regression. So in other words, it's horrible, because these perks, like, your natural regression is, I think, what, like a normal amount of its slow ass per charge reduction. Ruins, it gives you 100%, for example. Call of Brine currently giving you 50%. So it's basically adding on to the base amount of regression that you have when you kick a gen. And so the only reason that this perk would ever do anything closer to Call of Brine or even Overcharge is if you were to have the gen at 90% or so, for it to be 90% faster. So it's pretty much garbage. I mean, and it takes like two minutes to actually come back, which is also horrible. Now, what my suggestion would be for this, obviously, would have to be reduce the cooldown like way more than that. Like, it shouldn't, arguably, I would say it shouldn't even have a cooldown, or at least give it like 30-second cooldown. That was what I suggested. I said, why not have it shorter? Because 2 minutes is not it's like a lot of time for just it to do it one time, basically. Because if gens are getting done in 90 seconds, and arguably less than that, because as we've seen with people playing the game lately, the gens are flying, like 3 gens in under 1 minute type shit. So you're only going to get value once, maybe twice a match, just judging by the speed of the gens lately. So that's just my suggestion. I would say we got to try to bring down the cooldown or something. That's just me.
The cooldown, in my opinion, is extremely high. To explain how this works, by default a gen regresses 1 survivor charge in 4 seconds, so with this perk, at best, the gen will almost regress one survivor charge in 2 point something seconds. Right now, we only have Hex Ruin and Call of Brine to regress gens, and these do it by 50% extra, so that means as long as the gen has less than half of the progress, it will be worse than Hex Ruin or than Call of Brine. However, after that, it's just slightly better. The only way I see this perk being meta.
This perk won't be on anybody's build, including mine. It's just Call of Brine, but weaker.
It works like
Yeah, I have to agree with War on that. I actually mentioned that in the previous video that we discussed this. This won't be on anyone's build because of just how bad that it is. I mean, Call of Brine already is very weak as it is. Like, I would argue that it's even, well, almost disagreeing with War on this. Technically, it's stronger than Call of Brine now because 50% by itself for one gen, like, that's horrible, right? And then this one is like, oh, okay, you can kind of like vary the regression. So like it has the potential of being higher than 50%. So I only disagree with Vora only slightly because it's like technically it could be higher. Ooh, 90, ooh, 80. And you'll never use it again. It's like, oh good. It's not good.
old Pop Goes the Whistle, where you can kick a gen that has a lot of progress, and the more it had, the better this perk performs, and keep the cooldown the same. Right now, the regression progress is not worth it for how brutal the cooldown is. Some players might use it with Overcharge on Call of Brine, but even then I still think it's not worth it. Next up,
That's a 3 out of 10 perk.
we have Hex under.
Now, to me, I would say it's a 1 out of 10. That's where I disagree with Vora on that. It was one of the most pointless perks in the game, I think, at this point. Because of just the current state of the game. Like, I would pretend the perk doesn't even exist because of how weak it is. Like, and I know there's gonna be like the few that are gonna be like, oh, I use it, it's so good. I use it all the time. It gets so much regression. And I'm just like, yo, like, no, no, no. Like, you can use any other perk and get the same thing. Like, don't say that.
Your thumb, which has a unique effect. The first time a survivor gains haste, a dual totem ignites, and the maximum value survivors can get of haste is 25%. I see the idea behind this perk.
For a Hex though, nah. That's weak for a Hex. That's weak. There's so many other anti-exhaustion that you can bring. That's weak for a Hex.
I gotta agree with Vora on that. I wasn't sure what Vora would say, but I agree. Now, some people in the comment section were like sort of correcting what I was saying, basically, because the haste I think was like 50%, I think it was on like naturally or something like that when it came down to like sprint burst and stuff like that, which I think I should probably just make sure I verify so I know what I'm talking about. So I just checked, it actually is 50%. So it basically halves it to 25, which I think is still horrible. I don't think that you're ever gonna notice the difference. Like, the only thing that I would say that would perform better than this is just giving them exhaustion, because you cancel out the actual use of the exhaustion perk rather than reducing its haste amount. And I heard, I think Scott said it too, like, oh, it'll get some value or something. I'm like, no, I don't think it will. Like, them having haste in general is still providing a giant boost of movement that they can use to get to the next tile, which, mind you, in the current state of the game, in the current patch, has plenty of pallets and windows to use at their disposal. So it's not like it being slightly slower is somehow going to prevent them from reaching that thing. Like, they still have the momentum, they still have the advantage in the situation. The only thing that will help counter that is some form of exhaustion, let alone the fact that it's still a hex totem, which I've constantly have told you guys time and time again. I'm entirely against hex totems because they're so horrible. Like, the thing is that the intent behind a hex totem is for high risk, high reward. The problem is, though, is that the reward is non-existent and the risk is extremely high. So it doesn't really equal the same playing field unless you consider Devour Hope. But most of these totems that we're using probably aren't that good. Like, they last either a shorter duration or they don't really provide that much value on their own. You kind of need them to synergize with other things for it to actually be useful. So it's sort of not that great. And I've constantly even tried using totem builds on streams, and you guys have seen they get deleted in seconds, despite what people say. Like, they go, oh, I use it and I didn't get it destroyed. I'm like, sure, but I'm using it live right now, and you're seeing it's getting deleted in a second. So it's like, I don't have any reason to use it.
This can be cleansed, and it's still, I mean, it's not it.
As a counter to make Sprint Burst or Lithe worse, but I also see a lot of problems with it. First of all, this perk effectively only works on Sprint Burst, Balanced Landing, Lithe, and Smash Hit, and maybe Adrenaline at the end if you get to keep that Hex Totem, because against Death Heart, Dramaturgy, and Head On, this perk is useless. Second of all, why would I run this perk as a Hex when you have exhaustion perks like Languid Touch or Mindbreaker that straight up remove the ability of using exhaustion perks?
Yeah, like, I would rather have consistent value from a perk than possibly temporary value from a mid perk. I mean, there's way better hexes than this. This is a 2 out of 10. I'll give this a 3 out of 10 as well.
I have to once again agree with MintSkull and EvilVora on this, because both ways the perk doesn't really perform. Like, you have exhaustions that just do better, which I can't say that they're very strong because of obviously the usage of Vigil, which Vigil is extremely common. So I mean, it's essentially just kind of a wasted slot, at least in my perspective. I just think it's a wasted slot. It's not that great, not that good. I would say 1 out of 10. You know, I'm a little bit more I don't want to say harsh about it, but I'm a little bit more critical, I would say, when it comes down to the perks, because there are so many on Killer that are either pointless or do nothing or have such minuscule value events and stuff like that. Like, you just have so little times you actually get value, that I'm like, we need more perks that raise the bar. We need more perks that can be implemented into the meta. Like, we need more perks that can do those things better, because right now we don't have good perks. Right now we have trash. So like, I want to see better perks being added. Those things would help create more unique gameplay for killers, have more unique gameplay for the survivors to have to figure out and counter. There will be more uniqueness to build so that people aren't running quad slowdown, which is obviously the main thing survivors complain the most about, is the quad slowdown situation, right? So by adding more uniqueness and perks that offer better value, there would be a better chance that there is more build variety, and therefore can create a more equalized playing field in terms of fun and in terms of variety and stuff like that. It makes the gameplay fresh, because if you're only going to be using slowdown because that's the only viable thing, then of course you're going to see the same stuff every time.
Directly, and these have no counter. It seems like this hex only exists to specifically nerf Sprint Burst Vigil, and if you ask me, I don't want to run an entire hex perk that can be turned off in the beginning of the match to counter this pair of perks that should have received a nerf already. And if they do receive a nerf, then I see no reason to run this hex over exhaustion perks. And finally, for the killer, we have Vigilance, but unlike the survivor perk, this one is not that good. Every 30 seconds, if the obsession is at least 32 meters away from you, you see their aura for 5 seconds.
Isn't that Deerstalker? Kind of. Maybe I'm confused. Are they rinse and repeating perks now?
The thing
Nah, Vora's making a good point. He's making a good point. He's like, oh, yo, isn't that literally Deerstalker? Which, let me actually take a look to confirm if it actually is. Hopefully you guys can read this, but it says with the 9.2.0 patch, Deerstalker at tier 3 does 30 seconds. So it says when a survivor sees your aura, you see their aura. Every 30 seconds, reveal your aura to the survivor with the lowest chase time for 3 seconds. So let's actually review, right? So it says every 30 seconds, which is the same as Deerstalker. If the obsession is at least 32 meters away from you, you see their aura for 5 seconds. So I kind of see where Vora's coming from, and where the confusion is coming from, because it works similarly. The only difference is that because of this perk's fine print saying the obsession, you're basically only seeing the obsession for 5 seconds if they're out of range every 30 seconds, which is still pretty horrible. And the problem with Deerstalker is that if they see you, you see them. So like you're kind of revealing yourself. And I would imagine even combining the two perks, it just wouldn't. I would imagine it doesn't really give you a lot of value because you're just kind of giving your position to probably like 2 people. So like it's just not very good. Assuming that there's also other perks that show the aura of the killer if the killer has aura on you. So overall, this is not very good. Like I have to say, like if they were to change it to it just being either you make it so it applies to every survivor, or you make it so that the distance is much further away or something like that. Like instead of it being within, oh, you have to be within 32 meters. Make it so that it's farther away, so it could be like 40 meters away or something like that, and then maybe make the aura longer or something, like, you know, because it's just not very good by itself. Like you're not really getting any value out of it.
Thing is, Deerstalker does a very similar effect without the 32 meters range penalty. If this perk works at the beginning, it can be a mini lethal pursuer, so that's great, but I really don't like the 32 meter radius. I understand that the range is there to prevent the killer from getting wallhacked.
Brody, none of these perks are going on anybody's build. There's no new meta. It kind of breaks my heart as a killer main. Get me in there. I could probably help them design something a little bit better than this, because these perks here are not good. That perk there, I'm giving that a 2 out of 10. This perk right here is just, it might be worse than the other two.
During a
Yep, you heard it here from Vora, and you heard it here from me as well. I think both of us can agree. Both of the perks are just pretty terrible. Or not both, well, all of them rather, are just all really terrible. They're not meta defining. They're not going to be adding any new gameplay. They're not going to be adding anything new to anybody's build. It's not very good. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you agree or disagree with the topic at hand today? Do you like the perks? Do you dislike the perks? Check out Vora's video where he covers his own discussion about MintSkull's video. Go ahead and check that out. Hit the like, hit the sub, man. Become a member on YouTube or even Patreon. Or you can even sub on Twitch. I will see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members, Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not J-Lo, Evil Peach, Hargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.